Hello and welcome, and well, it is time again. It is time for the Apex Racing League GT3 Trophy Round 10. As we roll back into Europe, well, we're sure we're going to see lots of drama. And it's a new track and a new face on the sofas here at Apex Racing TV's esports studios. Joined by Jamie Fluke this week. Jamie, welcome along. Thank you for sitting in for Sam.
Not a problem.
And, well, I'm sure he's going to bring in all of his insights and pro knowledge and tell them all where they're going wrong and how they can improve.
I'll try and do my best, absolutely.
Yeah, something like that anyway. But, well, I mean, last time out, we're at Atlanta. It was drama-filled. A little bit early on today, I took a bit of a look at some of the highlights and the key moments from last week. We're going to check this out now. Well, let's take a look back to the action. A week ago at Road Atlanta, race 1 of 2 got away pretty calmly, but that was the calm before the storm. We couldn't envisage what was coming. It was an evening of absolute epic racing, but as usual, side by side, the run up through the first few corners through the S's always been more of a challenging point on the track, but everyone pretty much behaving themselves. Well, except for one slight incident there, spinning Audi that caused a couple of collisions, but hey, it's racing, isn't it? It's going to happen. But it was all about turn 5 and how people took the curves on the outside. Quite a few people dicing with death. You see Mitchell Drysdale there bumping across. We've got Will Dames now as well. Well, both the race anywhere Lamborghinis, but Dave coming up far, far worse. They're spinning and clipping the wall. But also Arvidsson, who ended up running away with a victory. He got away with it there, just lightly skimming the wall. Didn't lose that much pace. However, it was his teammate Tobias Olsen. He got it wrong in a bit more spectacular way. Gets fully airborne there, scrapes the wall, just about surviving it, keeping it straight, well, straight-ish on the grass, but did lose a place to Samson. Damage limitation, not too bad. And talking of Samson, beautiful overtake up the inside. Sam Fitzpatrick claimed last week, this is the best chicane in motor racing. It's hard to argue, really, with overtakes like this. Up the inside, there's Drysdale saying to Samson, whatever you can do, I can do just as well. But also turn 1. Around the outside, Paul Collishaw said, hold my beer. Watch this. Gets the move done, spectacular fashion. Off he goes, up a place. Great move from the man in the Ferrari. But it was all about Arvidsson. There's a scramble across the line for second place with the Pro-Ams also fighting their way through too. But Arvidsson taking the victory. And then race 2. Of course, race results from race 1, but the top 10 inverted. So 10th place starts on pole. And that was, well, a bit more calmer, a bit more preserved. Or was it? We get up through the hill. Everyone behaving themselves. Of course, you've got Arvidsson from 10th trying to find his way through here, trying to make his way up through the pack. You see Samson involved in some battles there too, trying to snake his way through. He had a cracking evening overall. But as a whole, everyone else just behind, knowing what had happened in race 1, just looked to get away cleanly. And then, well, as for action, this is where it all kicked off. And you see Samson, one of the cars trying to make some progress here, trying to find his way through. But of course, cold tyres don't help you whatsoever. And you can easily loop the car around, just like that. And then you can see one of the Race Anywhere cars just in the background, just coming into shot there, losing their rear end too. Bit of a sympathy spin. Everyone getting hurt by those cold tyres, certainly the Lamborghinis. As you see, further action through the chicane. Great overtakes, but in squeezed. It just didn't let up. It was definitely the place to watch. If you're going to stand at any point on the track, Road Atlanta, that is where you need to stand, without a question. And we had fights constantly carrying on through the chicane, all the way up through the S's, squabbling, crawling over places. But this is the big taking point. Bisaglia nearly gets the move done on Olsen and then loses it. And this is what came of it. Bang, just desperate to get back into the action. And then ends up collecting the Paco coming flying through. And this is on board from Giuseppe Muir. Wait for it, hold tight, bang, nowhere he can go, nothing he can do. But if you want to know how to survive an accident like this, check out David Sampson. Left, right, left, he picked it right and lived to fight another tail. And that really queued things up for the rest of the race. Tobias Olsen, you're going to see just how close. That is what an Audi R8 filling your mirrors looks like. And that overtake, that carried him on to victory. Can he repeat it tonight? Well, it remains to be seen. Let's find out. Well, always good to have a little bit of look back and just refresh our memories of the events and excitement and drama of last week. But Jamie, Magny-Cours, brand new circuit to iRacing. Well, I say brand new. We've had it for a fair few weeks now.
Yep.
But what can we expect? You've driven this at pro level.
I have, yes. As of last weekend, I have now driven it at pro level. What to expect? A great deal of difficulty sticking close to the cars ahead, but you do have the opportunity into the Adelaide hairpin. That's the key overtaking opportunity on the lap. And from there can be quite a bit of side-by-side action trying to jostle for position. And
it's very similar to sort of Spetzkerb at Hockenheimring, isn't it? Where you've got that long, swooping, sort of curved, almost, straight technically, into a big braking zone, double backing yourself, and then chance to keep alongside on the exit.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed that myself. I came into a little bit of trouble a week ago in the Porsche Taycan Esports Super Cup, where I was side-by-side coming out of the hairpin, and the car on my inside didn't want to yield, and neither did I, and we both ran into a great deal of difficulty, as you can see on the track map there. Where the lap starts, actually, turn 1 and turn 2. In a GT3, it's probably flat out, actually, or very, very close to it. It's a big, big commitment corner, and if you can get it wrong, it brings cars behind into play to stay nice and tight through turn 3, which is Estoril.
I suppose if you end up going side by side through that section, that's where you could end up losing quite a bit of time on the run down through. Well, turn 4 is more of a kink, really, but run down to 5, it's where you could see yourself under a bit of attack from people behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, something to note with turn 3, there are multiple lines you can take through the corner, and you can prioritise your entry or your exit. So you might see the occasional strange dive up the inside if someone's kind of sleeping a little bit, and that's where you can get the side-by-side action then into the Adelaide hairpin.
From that point onwards, it's pretty much just chicane straight. From that point onwards, through 7, 8, obviously 9, a bit of a hairpin, and much chance for overtaking. Do you think?
So into 9, there is an opportunity because there's no grip on the outside line. If you don't get tight to the inside of turn 9, then you have no grip, and someone can sneak underneath you.
There we go. And 11 and 12. Well, so 12 and 13 even. Get my number straight here. Not too much of a chance through there, or do you think?
Not so much, but if you get 13 wrong, that does leave the dive bomb into 14, into Chateau d'Eau, as an opportunity. It is a big risk trying to go for it, and from what we've seen even at the pro level, guys getting that horribly wrong as well. So the opportunity is there, but
I suppose just technically, with now the reformed last part of the circuit compared to the good old days, showing my age here, where you've got that remodeled sort of final sector, especially you've got a little bit of a chance to try and, if you can keep the car and the nose just in there, to sneak up the inside into 15.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, 14 is a difficult corner to get right. It's hard to get the power down out of that corner, and so yeah, the inside line in 15 is what you want, and then if you're on the outside, you have to back out through the final chicane.
Well, definitely going to be. We're saying, who's your favourite one? Do you think the Porsche's going to run around here? Lambos, Audis?
I'd favour the Lambo, maybe the Porsche.
Okay.
Those are the two cars that I think would be quite strong here.
That's your tip for the evening. Well, we'll remain to be seen. We'll find out how true that's going to be. But let's take a little look at the championship standings and bring us up into line. And well, pro, it's been tricky at the best of times. Obviously, Oscar Pye, he's still leading the way despite, well, he joined on a controller last week. It was he's definitely not going to achieve greatness through that one. But the young Frenchman has been really, really striving, and it's been a real change in the landscape within pro, where we've had Sim Race Sweden esports just dominating, and then Race Anywhere, they've come back into the play. Obviously, Oscar Pye's just carried off into the distance, and he's really, really sort of, just pushed on, hasn't he? And credit to him. Do you think there's quite a bit of that sort of where he's going to lean on Coanda, where he's obviously a junior driver for him, and just trying to extract out that bit of a setup tweak or pace, etc.
He's got the perfect people basically to ask and get advice from, and to help him out in his journey.
I disagree with that one, because he can't ask you, can he?
Well, fair point.
Well, there we go.
But I will give full credit. Obviously, the Coanda esports guys are top tier drivers, and he's a young budding driver looking to learn. So absolutely. He's got brilliant people around him that he can ask for advice and they can point him in the right direction.
Yeah, and the scary thing is he's only like 13 or 14, well, coming on 14.
Yeah.
Frightening stuff. Let's just look at Pro-Ams. And, well, Mitchell Drysdale. What can we say about the American? He's driving the Ferrari, which is not probably the most favoured car at the moment, is it really, Jamie? And, but he's just dominating. He's had a win overall. He's had podiums overall. Forget about, the wins in Pro-Am. I mean, how does he do it in a non-OP car, should we say?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it looks like he's driving really smart. He's paying close attention to what's going on around him and then, basically driving to his and the car's limits and going no further than that. So he's just doing the perfect job in that car at this time. And it looks like he's in a very strong position for the championship.
See Thomas Yaz and Andrea Nutini, they're running out the podium in Pro-Am. But across the Am, this has been... Well, initially it was a little bit like the championship that nobody wanted to lead in some way. Salvatore Piazzese, cracking Monza, until Jeremy De Bruyne walked up and he missed the first 3 rounds. And what was looking like, Piazzese having one hand on it, he's caught up with, pretty much caught up with Gasparini. And I think, with 3 rounds left, he's got a chance of winning this.
It's a chance, but it's a small one because Piazzese has still been so consistent, even with De Boer, putting in the big results lately. There's not too many chinks in his armour, so as long as he keeps doing the job that he's doing, I don't think De Boer will catch. But it only takes one really bad round for Piazzese to really open it all up again.
Exactly. But so we do have drop rounds within this championship, but I mean Piazzese's already had a few, well, let's say shockers. He's finished well down in sort of had retirement, so he's pretty much burnt through those. So he needs to at least maintain.
One left where it's still a reasonable score that he's able to draw, but after that, then no mistakes available to him at that point.
All it takes is one race, doesn't it? Let's take a look across into the teams championships, and well, in Race Sweden Esports, as mentioned with the pro category, they were leading the way. This looked like they were going to have this championship sewn up completely. And then it just started to fall apart a bit for them, and Race Anywhere, they crept back in, and Sim Race Sweden now outside, well, they've been outside the top 3 for a little while now, but still knocking on the door, can't quite get back in, and Delta really opening up a gap to them. But I mean, Race Anywhere, they've got some incredibly strong drivers, and I mean, between the 3 of them, there's always one of them that has a bit of a shocker, but between the pair of them, they're normally there or thereabouts, and for that longevity, it's where they've managed to come on. I mean, Lang, for me, his recovery drive at Monza was just spectacular, watching him just carve through the field like the perennial hot knife through butter.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you've alluded to, it's the consistency of at least getting 2 cars right up there that's been really important for them, where the Sim Race Sweden guys have kind of really struggled with that, and they've ran into bits of trouble through the whole season.
Yeah,
really.
well, yeah. I mean, they started off the first half of the season, just couldn't do anything wrong, but the second half of the season, it's just they missed 1 round as well, and just sort of crumbled a bit. It's a bit demoralising for them in some ways. Well, at least it would be for me anyway.
It certainly is, but all it takes is 1 good strong round, and they're not that far away really looking at the points, so it's still all to play for.
Oh, it is, definitely. We've still got 3 rounds, including tonight, and see the crowds just out on track. Qualifying just getting underway. Right, prediction time. What we're going to see? We're going to see dominance from the front. We've got the hour-long race this evening, the A format, 60 minutes, pit stop in the middle. Do you go early? Do you go late? How do you play out this one, Jamie?
Typically you'll want to go as late as possible unless you're stuck in traffic and you can't overtake, and around here that is a very real possibility. If you're struggling to stay tight behind another car through turn 3, it's hard to make anything happen. So yeah, you might see some variance then with the pit stop strategies. Do you think maybe if you, rather than try and go for the field twice almost when you get up to the back of them, pit earlier? Possibly. The worry with that though is pitting and then coming back out into, maybe AM traffic, for example, and that really could hold you up. So typically, patience is the way to go. You want to hang on as long as possible and then make use of the lower fuel when you've got the opportunity. That's why you need SDK Gaming, with its track map and the most accurate live timing software on iRacing. And a free 14-day trial to boot as well.
There we go, that's my plug done. Right, we're going to head to a quick break now. We will see you on the other side. We'll be live trackside for qualifying. We'll see you shortly.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Well, welcome back. We are just getting qualifying underway right now. Two drivers on the first flying laps. How crucial is qualifying around here, Jamie? Some circuits you can get away with it a bit more. Others, it is. I think of Hungaroring. That's the classic one for me. It's so imperative you qualify well around there. Whereas maybe someone like a Monza or a Daytona, because of the drag fest, you can get away with, dropping a few places by your usual standards.
Sure. Around here, definitely qualifying is a big priority. Not just for how difficult it is to overtake, but also in so many series that we've seen over the course of the lifespan of this track on iRacing, there's been a lot of incidents in the hairpin. So if you can be ahead of that rather than behind it, that's probably a really good thing for your chances around here.
That's just conjuring and bringing back memories of running the Daytona 500, really, and just staying out the big one. Of course, we saw a similar style incident that back at Interlagos earlier in the season, where the track narrows up. Of course, a bit more of an expansive track here. It's Magny-Cours, so shouldn't have that pinch point and cluster of cars coming together, so the drivers should be able to farm their way around. However, you never say never. You never quite know. Could be the curse of the commentators, but what I can tell you, Isaac Arvidsson leading qualifying right now, 1:36.4. He's got about 3.5 tenths in the bag over Davide Ciccoli, who's currently in second. Ciccoli been a bit of a sleeping giant within the pro category, because he's never quite been there, had a good last few outings, but yeah, he's doing incredibly well in the championship, and yeah, again, displaying here in qualifying.
Yeah, he's showing what he's made of. The Audi, as with the Lamborghini, I will say they're very similar cars, should go quite well around here. So, 3.5 tenths off Arvidsson isn't anything to be ashamed of. Arvidsson's a rapid driver. So, yeah, he's doing what he needs to do for his championship challenge. And, yeah, he's just about to set off now on a flying lap.
I wonder, you talk about the balance of performance and where it's at with certain cars. Do you think the Ford will ever make it back?
If you are interested, it might be very strong for next week's GT Sprint Series at Le Mans.
Oh, really?
If you fancy a play back in that car again, it looks very quick.
And you're one of the 5 people that actually own it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was popular. It was the meta car once upon a time. So yeah, I did own it back then, and Yeah, it's still a fun car to drive, even though it is a little bit weird in places.
That's a very nice way to put it. Well, just while we were chatting away there, Mitchell Drysdale. It's a bit of a nice lap in there, going 0.04 a second quicker than Chicoli. He's on the front row overall right now, and you're saying, you know, it's all about the Audis and the Lamborghinis. Well, our front row is a portion of Ferrari.
That's just what I know.
Well, yes, yes, and about all four. The first 4 positions, as things stand at the moment, are 4 different manufacturers. That is what we love to see. It's a lovely variety happening right now. Porsche, Ferrari, Audi and Lamborghini are playing first through to 4th with Atherton, Drysdale, Chicoli and Frederick Swart. It's got a really good qualifying for Race Anywhere Sim Sport there.
Yeah, absolutely. He's again, it's getting far enough up the field is really important around here, and you know, P4 on the grid is pretty much where you want to be.
And talking of being where you want to be, Matthias Martinsson, that's definitely not where he wants to be. While off the pace, well, he'd had every lap up until this point deleted. Only good enough for 20th overall. Peter Lemkins goes up to 14th, progressing, but Jeremy De Boiver 12th overall on the YAM as things stands at the moment. That's a very nice place to be starting, but having said that, I mean, the YAMs are really, pushing it on here, because if any, between De Boiver and Lemkins, who's second, there's only Puccetti who's sitting between them, and
certainly about 700 of a second as well, so there's time for this all to definitely change.
Oh, and I'm sure it will do. We've got plenty of qualifying left remaining. Got another good, 5.5 minutes left on the clock. And of course, from there we'll be taking to the track for an hour of unknown action, drama, and excitement here on Apex Racing TV. Well, as it could go absolutely anywhere, as Pierre Zeze just going top of the AMs. It's getting competitive, and he's got ahead of Tommy Moljord, the Scandinavian. Well, I mean, that's a big lap there, and some 4 attempts quicker than De Boiver, who'd put in a really quick lap anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's good for Piazzesi as well, where De Boiver has come in and sort of stamped his authority on the AM Championship, despite obviously missing the first few rounds. So for Piazzesi to put a lap in like that really sort of says, I'm still the man to beat in category.
Oh, he is massively, and I'm really, that battle is setting itself up nicely, isn't it, really? Because with the pair of them, this new championship, sort of protagonists to be scrapping out on track. I think that's it. It can only literally be a good thing that we're about to invoke between this pair of them, with them starting so close to one another. However, Isaac Arvidsson just gone faster for anyone in the first sector. He's on an absolute fly, our current pole sitter. Already 3 attempts clear of the field in terms of his best lap time.
Graphic here.
Well, it's not what you want to catch someone, is it? And that,
no, it's not went well at all.
No.
And he's not happy about it either.
It's going to be the perennial shaking of the fist if these were real cars, to remonstrate his feelings and frustrations. It's one of those things, isn't it? There's nothing, nothing you can do. That's the challenge with open qualifying, and it was someone who's not exactly a slouch who was behind him. It was Piazzese.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, it's nothing more frustrating in an open qualifying session than nailing a sector and be like, yes, this is the one, we're in the money here, and then someone who isn't on a flying lap gets in your way. Whether Piazzesi really was in his way or not, or just in his eye line, that sort of remains to be seen, but yeah, you can tell the frustration there, just based off of the body language of the car.
Let's just see Moljord, one of the drivers a bit further down in Pro-Am right now. Although it's, I think what we're seeing here, Jamie, is a bit of a, what happens when you have a newer track, because you've got, it's a really sort of jumbled up grid. I mean, yes, there's a natural bit of define, but we've got a lot of pros mixed in with all the Pro-Ams. There's very little division between them. And then, tail end of well, Pro and Pro-Am, mixed in then with the AMs as well. It's, you know, for the AMs especially, I think there's a big chance here of a big points haul for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe what the motivation is as well is the quicker AMs and quicker Pro-Ams are, you know, fighting for championship contention and maybe put that little bit of extra effort in for this new track. They don't maybe have, or at least those who are maybe further down in their respective classes just aren't putting quite the same effort in because they know, you know, they're not fighting for a, you know, a championship position here. So that's where the, you know, maybe the motivation is slightly different. And because it's a new challenge, if you're putting a lot of effort into something that is so new, it definitely brings your level up that much higher. So a jumble grid, like, we all love to see it.
We do indeed. We do indeed. As Francois Pedro, he improves up into 14th overall. Still, well, moves up a place in Pro-Am as well to 8th over within that class. But still maybe a little bit disappointed by that qualifying by his own standards. As you see, Andrea Nutini head into the pits. The 80k sim racing drivers. Of course, they're running the black team and the white team in the championship. This is one driver who's definitely a bit disappointed. He's bouncing across the curbs, and is that going to be a bit of an off track there, Jamie? On the exit, so just catching the grass beyond the AstroTurf.
It is possible to get it there, and if you catch it just after the line as well, it will still invalidate your lap. So you do need to exercise some extreme caution through it. He is wide there coming through Estoril as well, and this is probably his last opportunity to get a lap in as well. Exactly,
well spotted. Just over 14 minutes complete out of the 15. Oh, nothing now for Matthias Martinsen. All the way down in 13th, languishing, you could say, by his own ability to head through Adelaide. Oh, it feels so slow and clumsy through there, but back onto the power through the gears. You know, drop down now. What sort of commitment is he's got? He needs to have absolutely all of it within him, pushing every single lap, using every millimetre of track space available for him. But this left-hander feels like it goes on for ages, doesn't it? Oh, was that even onto the gravel?
That might have been an off-track penalty as well, so the lap could be invalidated. He's still pushing, so maybe he has got away with it, but it's definitely not optimal getting through there with use of the gravel as well.
Well, he's down to 14th now as Harajas Tortoise improves, but there we go, session's ended. Not quite enough time left on the clock for him to complete that lap. That means he's going to start all the way down in 14th. A disappointment there for the Simrace Sweden esports driver, but well, as we head across now, we'll be able to bring him up your grid shortly. Back confirmed to you, Isaac Armstrong. He starts from pole, and look who's on the front row with him. It's Mitchell Dryscale, the Pro-Am Championship leader. What a result to have a Pro-Am on the front row of him. Chacoli and Schwartz, they make up a row 2. With Natini and Trani sitting alongside one another on row 3. Thomas Yaz, he's got Froling and Renault for company. And then Andrea Pacini has Daniel Zanon. Well, you see a nice bit of pattern there. 2 Italians, 2 Frenchmen, and 2 Italians starting on rows after one another. That's going to round out your top 10. Tommy Molliard, he has got Haradas Utortas, the improved late in qualifying. Alongside him on the 6th row of the grid. And then it's Salvatore Pizzese, your top, well, second top qualifier in AM, because of course Zanon, top qualifier in AM, 10th overall. It's a really jumbled up grid on. But Pizzese, he will start alongside Matthias Martinsen, who we saw right at the end, didn't manage to improve. Jeremy de Boiva has Francois Pedro alongside him, and then it is North Sim Racing's Felipe Puchetti with Peter Lemkins on row 9. Row 10, that's Claudio Gasparini and Paul Collishaw. Right now it's top 20. Then it's been Romanos and Gus Rankin on row 11. Kaskarorkas, well, he starts directly behind his fellow Lithuanian countryman. He's got Paul Joseph's Cliff of Olympus Esports alongside him. And then it's Dames and Fulgini, Lang, Bizagalia and Gabrielli, who did not set time, so I believe they will be starting from the pits. Well, we'll find out very, very shortly as drivers lining up behind the Porsche 911 safety car. There's anticipation builds for this one. An hour of racing. Could go any way.
Could indeed go any way.
Go any way.
It's a short run as well from coming off of the start here with the pace car. It's not a full pace lap here, so it'd be interesting to see what sort of state everyone's tyres are for this opening run through the first sector and into the Adelaide Hairpin for the first time.
I can confirm Dames, Lang, Pizzigali, Gabrielli and Fulgini all starting from the pits as we get ready to go racing. And wow, they all elect to start in a single file motion as we are green and we are go from France for round 10 at Apex Racing Lyon. And there's been an off in the background there. And that was Pierre Zeze. He is off. Certainly not the start that he would have hoped for whatsoever, but Arbison leading the way. He's already pulled out 7 tenths over Drysdale, who's under a bit of pressure right now from Ciccoli. The Italian starts to swarm the back of him, and I'll tell you what, it's all happening here on the run down towards Adelaide for the first time this evening. Line of stone, a lot of them, but who's going to make the move? Who's going to move out from the line of traffic? Pedro, he's under a bit of, trying to apply the pressure to Filippo Brachetti. Got there in the end with him, but no, Triccoli, he has got the move done. He is past Drysdale. That's him up into second overall. Drysdale still obviously leading Pro-Am. Demoted to just third overall, but he's still giving it a good go here, trying to fight his way back. He knows he's got Schwartz behind him, who is no slouch whatsoever. He will be desperate to get onto the podium overall with Frederic Schwartz. As we look back from Ciccoli, the one thing they have got is that little bit of a gap between themselves and the Tini.
Indeed. Really strong start from Arvidsson. He's already probably broken the entire field here over a second clear, and yeah, it started to thin out a little bit on back, so hopefully you know, everything sort of progresses quite smoothly from here. But we did see the incident at the start with Piazzezzi. That's tough luck for him. Looked like he got tagged at the very start before even the race got underway. So we'll see what he can do to recover back through, but apart from that, looked very clean at the start there.
Was not bad a start at all to the end of lap 1. Arbison leads from Ciccoli. Drysdale third overall, leading Pro-Am with Schwartz. Third in at Pro as, that's a bit tight there. Collishaw just sneaking his way past. That was Lemkins. The battle's still going on, and this is the different lines you were talking about earlier, wasn't it, Jamie?
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like Collishaw's going for that tighter line and maybe gets the rough run coming out of SRL and potentially under threat coming into the Adelaide Hairpin from Lemkins. We'll see how that pans out.
Trani's being enveloped here right now, and
Almost up.
Yeah, they've definitely all closed up here, and also there's a big gap emerged between themselves and Schwartz, so something's definitely happened out on track. I'm sure we'll be able to bring you up to speed exactly how this is played out. We're on the board with Salvatore Trani. That is the team ahead of us, fellow countrymen. Let's play this one, Jamie, because you know you've got Yaz and Renault breathing down your neck and there's Audis behind you.
I would have to say it's just pass or get past.
Oh, wow, you can see from the rear view mirror there just how close that they are getting into this part of the track. It's literally right on top of one another. So to the brakes they come. It's as tight as you like. It's just seen towards the back of the field. So Lang, one of the drivers starting from the pits, his fellow Race Anywhere SimSport driver, Dames, he's made good progress. He's already up to 21st. As Lang still in 25th. Disappointing by his standards, but obviously he was starting from the pits. And well, I think are we seeing here that just how much it costs you from starting from the pits on this track? Some tracks it's not so bad, like Interlagos, you can get away with it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Around here, it's probably not hurt them as much as you would think. I'm sure there are worse tracks. Maybe say Daytona, I think, springs to mind with the really long pit lane exit. But yeah, Interlagos being one of the ones where it doesn't hurt you quite as bad. It'd be interesting to see how Dames and Fellini and Lang progress through the field, starting at the back, and see what overtakes they can make.
We'll find out. Oh, Dames has just dropped a couple of places. It's all happening. There's Piazzese. There's Dames. There you go. He's made his way past. Those two were clearly battling away. There's Kaskarauskas. Oh, that's Kaskarauskas around in the back. No, yes, it is. He's around in a Lamborghini for Green Hill Racing, and Biramanis, his teammate, just heads on past. So they both had incidents in these opening stages.
Yeah, it's not a good start for either of them, unfortunately. Now at Zalia. fighting with Paul Joseph Clist for 25th overall.
So the Italian had some cracking results. We alluded to it, obviously, in the build-up, but well done right now. We've got some replays here of the start. Let's take a bit of a look here. So you see that spin in the background for Piazzetta. That's really, really hurt him in his opening stage. You see, he just loses place after place, and there's nothing you can do about it whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you sort of get that initial bit of contact, yeah, just there, it's so hard to go side by side through the chicane there, and that's why we've seen the guys further forward who maybe had that little bit more experience. They decided to go single file. I feel like that was a really crucial decision for them.
So it looks like everyone's got to slow down except for Collishaw, who comes steaming around the outside there. That's where he's able to make a place. This cracking battle, but he played the track to his advantage, didn't he? Just squeezed.
Yeah, he just muscled his way through there.
Sometimes exactly what you need to do, and that. Oh,
I was sitting there with Clist.
Yeah, it's a bit clumsy almost. But then I suppose that's the danger of that corner. You see it, as we said about in the build-up. You see it Specs curve at the Hockenheim ring, and it's a very similar corner with a very similar lead-up to it. And you see exactly the same sort of incident.
Yeah, exactly the same sort of incident, as you say. And the one thing that doesn't work out for the Adelaide Hairpin here in comparison is there isn't as much runoff as well, so you can't completely bail out of it and just, all right, I'm done, let's get out of here and live to fight another day. Like, it pinches in, and sometimes there's nowhere to go. Yeah,
you don't have the width of the drag strip that's obviously just behind the exit of the corner in the Hockenheim ring to help you out. Seeing that Gasparini here, and he's looks like he's had a bit of an incident. He's dropped about 3 places. Collishaw, Lemkins have just headed past him, I think. I'm not sure what he would hope for. And definitely a few drivers struggling out that right now, as there goes Lang. Sailing his way through. Lang now up to 22nd as Piazzetti's into the pits. And he's not the only one either. Gustranken heads in too.
Must be for Meatballs.
Oh no, sorry, it wasn't Franken, apologies. It was Gasparini, so both are Northampton Racing Green drivers into the pits there. Oh, between them and Greenhill, they've really been bruised and battered in these opening stages, but while we were watching all that, Cicconi's dropped a couple of places because he was up in second. Drysdale's got past, and now Schwartz is past.
Yeah, something must have happened a few laps ago. He was running very, very strong before. And yeah, we've got a replay now with Gasparini.
So let's take a look. So, is that rear end going by himself?
Yeah, it's so easy for that to happen. If you commit, and the rejoin as well. You see that?
Oh, it's his teammate
as well.
Oh, the last thing you do is hit your teammate,
especially on a rejoin.
Well, he did. So I've just had one of our producers saying it was helping him, just pushed him round the right way, get him going quicker.
That's true. But I don't think either of them really needed the extra damage that would have came from that.
Oh wow, what a dominant display so far from Alverson. 2.5 seconds clear as bouncing across the curbs there. Oh, Salvatore Trani was Christmas comes once there. Thomas Yaz was, well, bouncing across each of those curves. At the Audi, we know it can be a little bit unsettled at the best of the time, and that's the last thing you want to be doing.
Yeah, it has to be said though that Audi can just about monster these curbs and just about get away with it. So he was fine to be as aggressive with the curbs there.
That's Ciccone back past Schwartz.
That's a textbook move there, up the inside into the hairpin. Nice and clean, no contact. Yeah, very nicely done there.
Job done. And off he goes, secures it, closes it, shuts the door on the exit. It says, fair place is mine.
It's Tommy Moldward, I think, it's the hairpin.
Yeah, he has.
He's got quite a few spots there.
He has dropped a fair few, hasn't he? He's now down 5 from where he originally started. 9th in class, 16th overall. Has got a bit of a gap of around about a second and a half to Collishaw, who's currently got dames all over his rear end, harassing and haranguing him, trying to find his way past. So Dames will make his way through undoubtedly. And then I think this is where it gets interesting, because fuel safe. Would that be a tactic? I mean, I suppose these guys that started from the pits, Jamie, they need to get creative. If they want to stand any chance of winning this, or even just getting onto the podium, you got to try something a bit outside the box.
You do, but he... Oh, never mind.
Tricoli!
That's Tricoli, yeah, that's a big one as well.
Oh.
How is he going to get this turn round? Second gear's not the gear to be in either.
It's Austin Powers, relived all over again.
He needs a button for...
no.
He needs a button to map the TC toggle off, so he can just flick spin the car right now. That car's battered. I'd say that's his race done and dusted.
Oh no, it's all gone wrong for Tricoli. And he's turned it to the pits after all of that. Davide. Oh, someone get that man a beer, I do believe. Wow, that's gutting for him, but it does make Drysdale and Schwartz's life a little bit easier and a bit more comfortable at the sharp end. So there is Drysdale. He's now got a gap of about, well, equally spaced first, second and third. 2.5 seconds nearest damn it between all three of them.
You can throw Nutini into the mix as well. It's another 2.5 seconds. So it is very well spread out for the top 4 positions here.
Incredibly consistent, and I think what's really telling Ben, in terms of pro drivers, Florian Renault, being in 8th, is currently on the podium in pro. Not something you tend to see.
Ever.
No.
That's
No, that's one of the Race Anywhere cars. It is, isn't it? Oh no! Frederick Schwartz.
Exact same thing as Tricoli the lap before. And we're going to see the same thing again.
It is. But yes.
He can get going from there. I don't think he hit anything substantial. Tricoli was bashing the rear of his car into the pit wall, whereas Schwartz there was hitting the
tire bar. Yeah.
Tire bar, so he can probably get away with that and continue about the rest of his race.
Well, I thought it was dramatic when Mitchell Drysdale got on the podium, and then when he won overall. We've now got 2 amps on the podium overall.
The pros are dropping like flies here.
Oh, they are. And now, I was saying about Florian Renault, saying, oh, he's down in 8. He probably expects to be on the podium. Well,
he's on the podium now.
Matthias Martinsen, who had a shocker in qualifying, started 14th, I believe it was. It's now 9th, up to 9th, so he's made good progress. 5 places, and it's now on the podium. 1st, 7th, and 9th.
And there's an ARL driver in between all that as well.
Well spotted. A 3-lap squad Corsa in the Porsche.
Got to give this man a ton of credit. It's just kept his head cool so far. Hopefully, I have not cursed him.
No.
Hopefully, I have not cursed him because he's done a brilliant job so far. And he's got Matthias Martinsen behind him, who is a fantastic driver. Maybe just not quite on the pace this week. Was a little bit wide through there, but safe and steady. And yeah, he's doing a fantastic job, 8th overall.
Dames has just got past Mollion for 14th, but I get nervous because the last time I heaped praise on an AM driver for being 8th overall, that was Salvatore Piazzese at Monza. And
I've jinxed him now, haven't I?
It's welcome to the commentator's curse club. Well, it hasn't happened yet. And I did have one once where...
Touch wood, hopefully it doesn't happen.
I was working with Sam on... it was ARL Porsche Cup many seasons ago, and he actually reversed, then contradicted my statement to reverse the curse, and the driver lost it and then saved it again. So it worked out nicely. It does happen. But talking of curses, there's a bit of, black magic going on here. Dames is making up places. Highest climber so far as well. He's up 11, up into 14th, and he's 4th in class.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. That is the only way to describe it right now. Headed where nobody seems to want to be on the podium other than Isaac Thompson in pro. Lemkins, he's making, a bit of progress to get back up through the field. He's now only down 3 places for a start, but he is running 4th in AM. Bizagaya, he is up into 20th. He's up 8 places, likewise Lang and Filagini. So good places gained from those two. They're all up 8.
That being said, with all the chaos and carnage that's happened, probably not too many of those have been pure overtakes. It's just been staying out of trouble and picking off cars that have fallen by the wayside.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had Chicoli. He has come back out of the pits. So he is a lap down now. Birmanis, Gasparini, Kostarokis, all having their own issues, as I think something's happened to Gasparini potentially, and Pachetti's just got back past Dames, although Dames is trying to overall get past Pachetti, so those two clearly trading a bit of places all over one another. You see our leader well out clear in the distance. There's Gasparini. All looking good. Well, let's take a little look at some replays and just refresh our memory of what has been, well, a crazy opening 15 minutes. Well, this is Tricoli up the inside of Schwartz.
Yeah,
you said it's on textbook, I think you called it at the time. Absolutely. Oh wow, that was not textbook.
That was awful. That was slow through the head.
Wow, that's so much Yaz bouncing across the curves, and
that's what did for Tricoli there.
Yes, it's Tricoli, probably, yes.
Big
Well
hit.
spotted. Well spotted. I mean, when we saw Yaz bounce, because we saw him bounce across the curves in an Audi earlier and get it absolutely spot on, and that's what happens when it doesn't. And exactly the same thing.
So, from my educated, I'd hope, opinion on this one, what's went wrong there is they haven't actually committed hard enough through the right. They've tentatively went for it, and they've not carried enough speed through for the car to come up and land and then take the left the same. They've not carried enough speed, and that's what's caused the car to get out of shape and ultimately end up towards the inside wall. So we're right on board now with Paul Lang fighting his way through, following Fellaini. Both of them starting from the pits, and they're both wide. Oh no!
Wow! Lang in full commitment mode there, and nowhere to go. Wasn't expecting Fellaini to run wide, and oh, you've got to feel for Lang there. I mean, it was just they were both pushing hard. Wow.
Yeah, and his car is not handling brilliantly in a straight line there. You can see it sort of grabbing down the straight. Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him. That's Fellaini.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, that car's done for him.
No, that's...
Take it to him from there.
Let's take a little look. Is he? No, he's elected to get up and going again, although Chris has come past him as well. Sam leaves for 1 week, and then this happens, Jamie. It's all going on, and we're only 18 minutes out of the 60 complete. So, sit rep. Arvidsson leads. He's 3 seconds clear of Drysdale, which is impressive. So he's only pulled out about half a second to a 6th attempt over the course of the last 10 minutes. So that's impressive from the Pro-Am driver, who's 2nd overall. Natini, well, because everyone's fallen by the wayside, there's a 7-second advantage Drysdale has at the top of Pro-Am, and, well, securing that 2nd place. Natini 3rd, Thomas Yaz, the podium in Pro-Am at 4th overall. Trani, Pagini 6th. Volume Renault is 2nd in Pro, but yet down in 7th. Then we've got our leader in Am Zanon, who's in 8th. Matthias Martinson, after, well, by his own fair standards, a shocker in qualifying, is 9th overall. Another podium in Pro. Yitzortis 10th. Jimmy Buevas, he's 11th and 2nd in Am, with Collishaw now on the podium in Am, 17th overall. Ooh. I don't know where, normally, when you commentate on a race, I'm sure it's the same for yourself when you're driving. You can understand what's going to happen. You get a bit of a feel for it, of what's going on, how it can play out. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Oh,
so much so much has happened so far. I mean, if Daniel Zanon wins overall, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever.
Neither would I at this point.
Or even if Fulagini, who's currently in the pits and 2 laps down, suddenly pulls it back to win it.
I think we're asking a lot now of that.
Well,
we are stretching the boat.
we are stretching it a long way, but I just don't know. It is fascinating. It's enthralling. Third race distance, 20 minutes in now. And I think for the first time, which I always dread saying this, because it normally kicks straight off afterwards, it's settling down a little bit now for the first time. We've got, you know, there's some battles happening out on track, but there's some, you know, gaps emerging. Everyone's just settling into the race now. But I suppose we need to start thinking about pit stops. He's right on board with Piazzese. That's Gustranken ahead of us. Battle for 22nd, 5th in class right now. I mean,
that is sideways from Franken. Piazzese says, thank you very much, and up through.
It's not the first. We've seen that a few times, haven't we, Jamie? Just why are the drivers struggling out there? I mean, surely it's too early in the race for marbles to be out there.
So something that I have noticed with this track in particular is that offline there is no grip. It's not even a marbles issue. Even on a fresh, clean track, if you're slightly off the ideal line, you just go skating off. We've seen with the incident down at turn 9, where the car sort of lost the back end slightly on the way in and just skated off the road. So mistakes do happen quite frequently around here because of that, and that's why Piazzese just there had a very easy run through. Yeah, just all they had to do was just stay disciplined to the line and not overshoot the corner by even the smallest margin, and up a position he goes.
To see Zanon getting the hurry up now from Matthias Martinsen. Both Porsches. Who's going to get the better exit out of here? We're not going to see someone run wide and in the back of another. No, we're not. But Yusortus in the fight too. He's only 4 tenths behind this pair, and look, there you go. Zanon knows he's in a bit of trouble. He goes to the inside to try and defend it. Martinsen going to be looking for the switchback, or he's going to go the long way round. He's going to try the long way, then dips out of it, but he needs to be careful because Yusortus is trying to fight his way back through. I think that's what's allowed Zanon to hold on to it, where Martinsen just had to check up a bit and think, oh, Yusortus is going to nick this place off me.
Yeah, exactly. I was in a very similar position to that. Oh, he's going straight up the inside.
There we go. And
great move.
Zanon's going to lose 2 places. There's Yusortus, follows Martinsen straight through there.
Yeah, very bold and ambitious move there from Martinsen. It didn't really look on, but it looked like Zanon was maybe a little slow coming through the chicane, and that just opens the door. And it is there to be taken, you know, the opportunity there. If you don't cover the inside really early, then all it takes is for the car behind to put the nose to the inside, and you're left hanging out to dry.
But where they've tripped over one another, that has brought Dames and De Bruyne into this fight. There's De Bruyne, who now has, well, he can see, he can practically touch, because there's only 6 tenths between the pair of them, him and Zanon. The lead in Zanon now down to 10th. He was running in 8th overall. You see Dames. I mean, if you're Dames here, how'd you play this one out? How do you play this? Because, I mean, we've heard him fuel save, so I'm sure that's probably part of it, but equally, he doesn't want to be held up behind these guys because he knows that Martinsen is at the front of this train, and that is a place on the podium.
Yeah, exactly. He was fuel saving, and I think I kind of got cut off by an incident. Yeah, he's just gone for the pair, and straight through he goes. And now we've got a side-by-side battle between De Bover and Zanon for the AM class lead.
It is 11th overall now. Well,
Zanon
there you go.
Backed out, as I should have done last week.
Well, how do you respond to that?
But it's a smart move. Like, he realised he was under pressure, under threat.
I do wonder if Zanon's playing a bit more of the long game based on his pace shown here in corner entry speeds. It doesn't seem to be the full commitment that we're seeing from some of our drivers right now. But I tell you what, Dame seems like he's got the real hurry up because he's close onto the back of Yusortus incredibly quickly, and thus Martinsen
He has indeed. It looks like he's got a lot more pace than pretty much everyone right through, so potentially our leader as well. Maybe we'll say Drysdale's a little bit quicker as well. So yeah, we've got this. Yeah, he's so much faster, as we can see with the graphic there on screen. So it is a bit of a dilemma for him. Does he pit now and get himself into clean air? Does he get into clean air if he does pit? Or does he try and overtake the pair of them? It looks like he's quick enough to make moves happen, so we'll see what happens here.
It does, but then, without being disrespectful to the drivers behind him, he's much stronger than them.
It looks
So
like
is it a little bit easy? Yeah,
just letting him go.
Well, I think you can probably sense that this is for a battle on the podium in class. And maybe he just lets them go at one another and picks up some scraps.
It's a very smart move. I like that strat from him. It's not ultimately his fight as well. It's not in his class. So let them scrap it out and as you say, see what comes from it.
Wow. Let's not forget there are overall points available too, so this is play part of it, but it's a bit of a tricky one because it's the whole of, do you push on and let them go at one another? We've seen so many drivers come off already. I just pray that they take each other out. Not that we want to see that. This is really brewing up to be a cracking battle, as likewise the battle for fourth, which is actually third in class as well. It's all about this third in class at the moment. As the flash of the lights you can see, and that's the Teeny just trying to clear a back marker. Thomas Yaz and Salvatore Trani. Right now we'll look back from Yaz. Only half a second between the pair of them. Alex Arvidson's just as fast as first sector of anyone while we're watching this.
Yeah, Arvidsson's in a league of his own right there. Unless something happens, he probably won't be touched from here. That being said, Drysdale is hanging on gamefully. 3.5 seconds back, but we're looking back now at Trani and Renault as well, was it? Oh, no, sorry, that's the back marker.
Yeah, that would be Castorocas there, looking back up there. He's the best of opening times, unfortunately. Biramanis isn't out on track as well. I do love the sound of that beginning, that screaming V10. This is what I think is the appeal about GT3, isn't it? You've just got that diversity of sounds, shapes, sizes, and it all just works together in this weird cauldron of motor racing.
It's why it's probably the most popular series on iRacing, at least in terms of the road side of things.
No, it's so popular. A developer in Italy made a whole game about it.
Yeah, that is very true.
Thing in Tortoise. I tell you what, although he let fall out, I say this, look what's ahead of us. That's Matthias Martinsen. That is not Dames. Dames has got the move done.
Got it done pretty quickly from the looks of it as well. So Martinsen, quite simply, just doesn't really have the pace here this week.
No, he's really struggling for pace. Most in qualifying, picked up a little bit in race conditions, but I tell you what, Dames has really got that race pace, and he's fuel saving.
And he's up 17 positions.
I mean, was running wide. Didn't quite catch who that one was, but I think it might have been Castorocas, yeah, just running wide there on the track. But I mean, already look at that. He's already pulled out 1.5 seconds, nearly 1.6 seconds. Oh, that's the replay we saw. That's the one we saw earlier. We caught in live pictures as we rode on board with Lang.
So Fallooni got stuck out in the gravel and probably had to back out of the throttle slightly, and Lang coming in full steam, which is to be expected at a flat-out corner exit, and unfortunately just couldn't react in time.
This is one of the many moves that we've seen from Will Dames so far. The man on the move, so this is a P2 here, and that is Martinsen there, and
yeah, trying to get through Zan.
Yeah, just struggled, didn't he, for a bit of a while, and then till this moment. It was unexpected. Of all the places you think they would take, really wasn't it, was it?
Not necessarily, but it is a spot where you can make the move, and he certainly made it.
That's where you tend to make the move, but you don't tend to make two into one corner of Will Dames. Cracking move at the inside, and this is how Dames got past Martinson.
It's an interesting one into turn one. It's very, very few overtakes that actually happen.
Yeah, because there's so much speed carried into that.
Yeah.
It's... I mean, I'm just astounded. I don't know why I should be surprised, because I know, you know, we've seen the quality of the driver that Dames is this season. That's Zanon into the pit, so, I mean, half race distance. You spoke about pitting that bit earlier. I mean, start of the pit window, it's a bit of a bold call, but maybe Zanon's seeing something that, you know, we're not, with gaps in the traffic where the field's really spaced out right now.
Very true, but he has changed tyres, which I'm not sure if that's the strategy around here. You can now, of course, get away with changing a couple of tyres at least, you know, with your fuel as well. Stationary there for around 23 seconds, if I've got that right.
You have indeed.
That seems like he's giving up some track position for the safety maybe of fresh tyres, which might be the right call for him. But he might have lost.
I'd imagine, especially later in the race, especially when there's a lot of high-speed corners and then traction zones where you've got to really accelerate out of a low-speed corner.
Especially in the Porsche, which can be a bit of a handful as well at high speed. So maybe it's just the right call for him at this time.
So just showing finally Renault's on board, looking backwards to Pagini. And you just hear the car clattering across the curves. Zero mechanical sympathy going on right now from the Frenchman. You see the tyre tracks left in the gravel where pretty much every man in his dog, at one stage or another, has had a little bit of an excursion out there.
Well, if you're not getting out there, you're probably not trying hard enough, I think. You've got to push the limits and get right to the limit there. So I don't have a problem seeing someone just clipping the gravel on the way through there. Yes, it's an off-track penalty, but you're committing.
You only find the limit when you go over it.
Exactly.
There's Collishaw. He's headed into the pits. It's one of the earlier stoppers, and that's seeing Puchetti and Gasparini, the two North Sim Racing Ferraris. A bit of a scrap war level. We've all seen them come to blows earlier on, not for any fault of their own. There's Lang's into the pits as well, looking for an alternative strat. And Puchetti and Gasparini both now up onto the back of Clist. 8 tenths of a second separating the three of them. You can hear the scrub of the front tyres, can't you, as you really go through turn one. Is that too much? Is Gasparini taking too much out of those fronts?
I would say probably a little bit. If you can hear the front tires screaming through there, then you're probably not hearing the rears. And so, yeah, probably suffering a little bit from understeer.
Got himself in a good place, though. He's alongside his teammate. Oh, well, closed up on the back of Clist. They're both trying to be the last of the late breakers out. They're having a bit of fun. And
Jetty now has a run on Clist.
That's our lead. That's our leader behind them as well. That is Isaac Arvidsson. Oh, wow. That is committed. But he knows that, Drysdale, look, Drysdale's taken about 2 attempts out of it. Nearly 3 attempts, in fact.
It looked like a tiny little bit of contact there between Clist and Arvidsson, which probably held Arvidsson up ever so slightly.
I say that, about 2 or 3 attempts. Look, it's even more now. Drysdale is taking time out of Arvidsson hand over fist. Although Drysdale does have to try and clear his back markers that Arvidsson already has. You can see for the graphic in the bottom right just how that gap has fluctuated across the last 15 laps. I mean, all the time that Arvidsson has built up over the last 3 laps has come right back down again, and it's diminished.
It certainly has. But now he's not.
Ooh, spinner. Is that one of the North Sim Racing Ferraris? There's Gabrielli. There's one of them. Actually, remember, he featured, to be fair, Gabrielli, he's had a quiet race, but he's up 8 places. Never even mentioned him today.
I think that's the perks of just staying out of trouble. The less we speak of you, if you're further down the order and trying to work your way forward, then probably the better. It shows that you've kept your nose clean.
Definitely has. Thomas Yaz visits the pits. Dames, I was going to say, he's the highest placed driver who has pitted, but he hasn't yet to pit because, of course, he started from the pits, so that is why. I think Waver's now been promoted up into 9th. Stanon, who has pitted,
but has cut PSS in.
Well, and also Peter Lemkins too, who's just, well, he was yet to pit, so he has come in. So that does mean, looking at where they are, yes, PSAs and Zanon are going to head past, but Zanon is on the back of PSAs though.
It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, because as we mentioned before, Zanon we would see the car up in the Jackson had taken tyres. I'm not 100% sure what PSA's stop indicates.
No, 7.5 seconds, so that says to me, he stopped all the way back on lap 4, of course, for that damage, so that's not enough. He's out of sync, isn't he? That's not enough for him to get home. There's our top 2, they are into the pits. We're just going to see this action right now, and that, to driver's right, is Zanon up alongside, but he's not got the move done. He's going to have to drag this one out. He is on fresher tyres, Zanon. He's got to be your favourite here. It's too Italian. Oh, he's not. That is full commitment there. Closes off his fellow countryman as the Tini, Renault, Pagini, Trani and Dames all into the pits. Martinson's into a flurry of activity on minute 36. It's all happening down in pit road. Swartz, De Bruyver, Molliard all at the end. Wow, I'm guessing this is the prime lap to pit on then.
Or it's just as far as the tank goes for everyone and they can go no further.
I tell you, Arvidsson's gained a fair chunk of time over Drysdale in the pits. I mean, yes, he was stationing for only, 2 tenths less than Arvidsson, but they got about to 3.8 seconds. So we lost that big chunk of time clearing back markers. He's managed to catch it back up again. As Dames is the intro. He's done well there. He's jumped a few of the Pro-Am drivers as Dames. 6th overall now. Still on that last podium place in Pro.
How much further can he go? Speaking of.
There's 20 places. That's 5th. And a flash of the lights. Magini, clearly, I'd say, highly impressed by that move, saying, congratulations, well done on getting past me. With a flash of the lights there.
And a nod and a wink as well. I suspect there's probably a little bit of argy-bargy.
I think, yes, Dames has got his out, well, not just his hours out, but they've been sharpened, definitely, as following Pedro. So Francois Pedro heads past Lemkins there.
That's Bazaglia actually ahead of Pedro.
Oh, sorry, no, apologies. Yes, it's apologies. I thought they should come together a bit quicker, and Lemkins has lost a bit of time around the pit stops, hasn't he? Because he was in amongst these guys, so a bit disappointing for him. Obviously, Astro's pit stop, he's dropped down to 4th in class. Pedro we're right on board with right now. Bazaglia ahead of us. Really see the undulations there, the way the car just bites into the track and grips up.
It's a wonderful sequence of corners if you can get it right.
That's my problem, Jamie. Just can't get it right. And ooh, I'll tell you what, Zanon
Still
struggling, and he also got the hairpin a bit wrong, and now he's in trouble because Thomas Yaz is all over his rear end. He's lost quite a few places as Thomas Yaz.
This was well up towards the top 5 at one
He
point.
was, yeah. He was. He's lost a lot of time, and I can see from he's frustrated by being stuck behind Zanon from the flash of the lights, remonstrating, going, wants to get past, get him up the road. Oh, I think that, has there been contact ahead of us? I saw a bit of bodywork ahead. Yes, there you go. There's a Lamborghini off there. That is Mollior.
Birmanis.
Sorry, yes, it is Birmanis. Apologies. But Molio's been caught up somewhere too, and Clist. I think they might have all had a bit of a coming together there, potentially. Biramana's not the race he would have hoped for. Lithuanian. Well, ding ding, round 2, these 3 all back together again. What can Yaz do? Zanon back up onto the back of PSSA.
PSSA does have to stop again though, because he headed on lap 4.
He does, well remembered. Well remembered.
So whether Zanon needs to make this move right now or not remains to be seen.
So he's going to stop on about lap 26 by my calculations. We're currently on lap, well, it's about to come out onto lap 24. So Zay's, I was about to say, only got a couple of laps left in him. Oh, Bale's maybe a little bit early. And then I suppose everyone ahead of him was fuel saving.
And it possibly would have been more difficult for him to save fuel if he's been carrying a damaged car since before lap 1.
Ooh, Thomas Yaz just got the entrance a bit wrong. Nearly cut the grass, had to get out of it. I was, well, you said there's multiple lines through there.
I don't think that's one of them.
No, that's definitely not one of them. Bit a controversial one, but Zanon is able to live to fight another day. So we'll see the replays here.
This is a Tranny.
226. So lost all that time, and this is where the 2 teammates in Sim Racing came together. Onto the brakes.
It's well defended on the inside, and the inside is where you absolutely want to be through there.
Oh, Gasparini and
so this was quite a good scene off in the background. I'm not sure what happened there.
So Zanon up the inside there. Got it done, but then just lost it, didn't he? Just too deep.
And then left hanging out to dry on the outside coming into the Northern chicane.
Great sequence of corners, and now this is Dames up the inside, so we're going to see why there was a flash of lights and remonstration.
I mean, it was a committed move, but Pagnini sort of left the door wide open there. So he should remonstrate, I'd say, with himself more than anything else.
Oh, that's why Thomas Yaz has lost all those places, Jamie.
There we go.
That perennial final sequence of corners, sitting that chicane.
And to be fair, what we've seen, and this probably goes against what I have said, it has all been Audis and Lamborghinis that have really struggled through there.
Yes, you did call that one.
Yeah, it's...
We did also think it was probably going to be a Lamborghini or an Audi on top. And right now, it's a Porsche followed by a Ferrari.
To be fair, I wasn't sure what each driver would be driving. If I'd known that Arvidsson...
Sim Racer 101 of excuses coming out right
maybe
now.
I would have called it differently.
Okay. Order has restored a little bit at the front. Well, actually, no, I say that. Drysdale has eaten a couple of attempts out of Arvidsson. Still order with 17 minutes on the clock, in fact. I don't think he can get there. I think Arvidsson's got this one sewn up. It's on for... It's on from a Grand Chelem right now. Fastest lap, led every lap, taking the victory and started on pole. That'll be an achievement and a half. On board with Lemkins though. That's Pachetti ahead of us, but just in our rear view mirror. You can see it on the right hand side of your screen right now from that rear view camera. That is Michelle Gabrielli. Lemkins, the meat in a North Sim Racing sandwich. Or vegetables, or if you're vegan. No.
I mean, you've got plenty of options what you can put in a sandwich.
Ah, right now it's Peter Lemkins. Maintaining those gaps though, isn't he? He can't seem to break that 6/10 margin as hard as he's trying, but how much of him, if you were coaching him right now, how do you get him to play this one? Because surely, you know, you've got, oh, that's a real clatter in the curves. You've got Gabrielli behind you. You know that he's looking to get his way through, but yet you want to get past Pachetti in front of you. How do you play this one as the middle car?
As the middle car, at least be aware of what the car behind is doing, but don't focus too much on it, otherwise you'll just start mirror driving and going nowhere with it. Keep your eyes focused on your apexes and your exits and your braking points as well. Don't worry too much about the cars around you. They need to be a lot better than you to make a move on you. So if you just keep doing your job, you'll do absolutely fine.
There we go, and so much so, Gabrielli ran a bit wide on the exit of 1. And now, he's got a few attempts, and I tell you what, Pichetti not getting the best exits off Allied Hairpin. Because Lemkins has reeled him in by a couple of attempts. Just watching this ebb and flow right now. All three of them being in Ferraris, that's where it comes down to the driver. Those cars can be stronger and weaker in exactly the same parts of the track. See Zanon being, well, pushed and harassed yet again by Thomas Yaz, who's yet to find his way past the Italian in the Porsche.
Last time by, Zanon's actually set his fastest lap of the race, so he's driving excellently. He's working his way actually closer to Tommy Mollard as well up ahead, so maybe Thomas Yaz doesn't necessarily need to make this move right now, since the two of them are working together quite well to close the cars ahead.
Yeah, you can see the between Mollard and Zanon difference in lap times there for the last 5 laps. So something's happened to Kraska. Something he's had a bit of an off. Well, we've got 14 minutes remaining on the clock. Arvidsson leads overall. Drysdale is getting a bit of a habit of this one. On the podium yet again, the Pro-Am driver, 2nd overall. Latini joining him. That's the first time we've had a Pro-Am this season. Well, 2 Pro-Ams on the podium overall. Following Renault, Will Dames, they are running at the top 5, and the podium on Pro with Pigini. So Pigini at 6th, and you're completing your podium on Pro-Am. Matthias Martinsen, not the best of qualifyings, but he's dusted himself down, he's picked himself up, and he's climbed 7 places. Unfortunately, will be eclipsed massively by Bizzaglia in 15th, he's up 13, and Dames, who is up 20 in 5th. Wow. Rise to fame for Dames. And well, it's Boiver, he's 11th overall, leading that class. Zanon, after a brilliant start, astounding qualifying from the Italian in the Porsche, Freddie Rascod Corsa. He's now 13th, 2nd in class with Lemkins. Well, we saw that battle earlier with Pichetti and Gabrielli. Down in 18th. Still that podium in Pro-Am. You see the battle between, well, Yaz, there we go, getting past Zanon. I was about to say between Mollard and Zanon, but Yaz says see you later to Daniel Zanon, and he's passed. Now, just needs to close it in to Mollard. He seems to have the pace to be able to. Talking of pace, 2 Ams in Ferraris, having a good scrap at the rear. Who doesn't love that one? It's all over 20th between Piazzese and Collishaw.
Piazzese's actually done quite well to get back to 4th in class after his excursions at the very start. He's done a very good job there.
He has, yeah. So much has happened. I actually forgot he came off earlier because he stopped all the way back on lap 4, then out of sync with everyone. Davide Kuchkoli, talking of near the backfield, he's just headed into the pits, but on this final lap out, as fastest first sector of absolutely anyone. And he's all the way down 24th. Yeah. I suppose, you know, if you're all the way down there, you need to do something to make your life a bit more entertaining, don't you? You're having a bit of a mare.
I guess that fast first sector is probably because he's light on fuel. Yeah, and he's just been able to send it, and yeah, he's back in for more fuel and be back out shortly.
What's sending it? Franken having a little bit of a look at the inside of Lang. That's not something you tend to expect to say.
Certainly not. Maybe that was Lang had just sort of got through, and Franken was like just showing the nose to say something to him.
They can fit twice as Trani desperately trying to hold on to some place. Matthias Martinsen can't get it done.
Is that not an open for Trani on Martinsen?
Yes. You're absolutely spot on. And that's why I stopped and paused for a second. I was like, hold on. No, it's not. They're swapping.
It's just a good, clean move there from Trani. Again, Martinsen, I feel like should be defended the inside there if he really, really wants to hold on to that position. As I've said on numerous occasions now, the outside line at this track, there is no grip out there. So if you can hold on to the inside line, you're probably going to be in good shape. But Trani's made the move and he's already starting to streak away.
He's pulled out nearly a second. He's nearly broken that draft. And to rumble with Martinson. What's... I mean, he seems to be struggling like mad. And I mean, that is definitely out to a second right now. It seems like he's just not using as much of the track. Is it to do with lines? You think it might be a bit of setup, a bit of everything, a bit of confidence?
That's a tricky one. He doesn't look settled. He doesn't look like he's attacking the track either. And he's 38 seconds off the lead, which is not something that you would say about Martinson, especially considering he's not been in a clear, notable incident. He's just struggled here today.
Rumble with Schwartz, another of the recovery drivers. He was, well, running around in fourth, had got up into third, and then had that earlier incident. Now,
inside here.
Well, I was going to say, she's going to have to fight! Oh, wow. Resorta's just, well, showing us how to open up the steering. Glide out wide and give Schwartz space that many may argue he didn't deserve. So he poked his nose in where it really wasn't wanted there. And that is averted disaster for the pair of them.
It has indeed. Schwartz probably shouldn't have been throwing the nose up the inside there, but Yutaro's doing the right thing. Even though, yes, Schwartz probably wasn't entitled to that space, as we see Mollard and Yaz.
Yeah, Yaz. Yaz is really... Yeah, he didn't hang around after getting past Zanon.
Side by side now into the Imola chicane. Someone has to back out here.
Oh, no! But you say that, they did. It was Yaz, and then Zanon said, oh, there's a gap there. Thanks very much. I'll stick my portion to that.
Yeah, Zanon's still fighting away. He's still hanging in there.
Like a dog with a bone. He's not giving this one up whatsoever. Oh, something's happened to Arvidsson. So he's only half a... Drysdale's only half a second behind. I think he's had contact with the back marker, because he has dropped about 3.5 seconds in the blink of an eye, and that is Drysdale in the Ferrari right behind him. And now it is game on. 8 minutes left on the clock.
This must have come down over a couple of laps, because last lap, Arvidsson was a second difference.
Online timezones were showing that Arvidsson's been involved in an incident, and I think it might have been with Lemkins.
Could well have been.
Because where is Lemkins on track? Oh, it's
a huge chunk of time that Drysdale's closed in over the last 3 laps.
That is a...
That's more from Arvidsson losing pace. Here on fuel saving there coming into FVC.
But, I mean...
on fuel.
Actual physical time stopped. Oh, he's really struggled across the curves there, whereas Drysdale's got this. Hold on, hold tight everyone. Here we go, into turn 1. Drysdale has a bit of a look, has to check out of it. He can't find a way around the outside right now, but he is tucked up and he is turning up the pressure to the absolute maximum. Example. Is his tyres gone? Because up the inside goes Drysdale. He's alongside, and now he's going to deploy all that power. The Ferrari is known for its straight line speed. Here we go. Who's going to be the last late breakers into Adelaide?
Defending inside.
He's going to have to do it the hard way. Right round the outside is Drysdale. The fight for the lead. He looks for the switchback. Is it going to work? What sort of exit has Arvidsson got? And it doesn't look like the best.
But it's just about good enough for now.
Isn't his tyres gone, Jamie? I mean, it seems really competent. He's been so dominant and consistent all race long. And you're saying he was fuel saving, but he was only stopped for 2 tenths less than Drysdale. That's not...
But maybe Drysdale was saving just that little bit of extra fuel in the first stint, and Arvidsson was full push, and Arvidsson refueled potentially less as well, so maybe he is struggling, but the gap came down there consistently for about 3 or 4 laps, so I'm not sure, maybe it was a tyre issue, maybe he has burned through the left rear.
That is one of the things with these new tyres, isn't it? It depends on how you bring them in with a new tyre model with GT3, and they can fall off. It's not a consistent line of degradation, is it?
Yeah, there is a bit of a cliff, and once you hit it, you are in big trouble. It's unlikely that he's hit it at this point, but it's not completely out of the question. His lap times are still shoddy compared to what he was doing before. Pick Tranny in 7th was 8/10 quicker that last lap than Arvidsson, so Drysdale has him in his sights, and Arvidsson does look like he's there for the taking.
5 minutes 20 left of round 10. And you can see from the aggressive way that Drysdale's moving around here, applying the pressure, getting as close as you like into the hairpin there. He knows Arvidsson is vulnerable, and he's stalking him. Lion stalks its prey. The American, can he do it? This would be his second victory overall, as we're seeing a bit further down the field. The battle for second on the podium in Pro. Wow.
Inside for Dames.
You spoke earlier about being full committed to the curves, and not, you know, just going with it, being brave. Is that a little bit too far there from Dames in the
I think so, because there's an off-track penalty on the inside there.
There?
There's a 1x penalty on
there
the
we
inside.
go.
Take too much. So a little overcommitted, but you've got to try something. If the car on the inside defends the inside and doesn't make a big mistake, you've got to try something different. And likewise here with Arvidsson, even though his pace has fallen off dramatically, he's still defending and still placing his car in the right places.
Well, it's interesting because you see the way that final chicane, Drysdale seems to be more fluid with it, whereas Arvidsson's really just bumbling it across each time.
I feel like he's feeling pressure. Like Drysdale, yes, the Ferrari is very good over the curbs. The Porsche maybe not quite as much, but Arvidsson's driving defensively and trying not to make a mistake.
Rather than trying to get away from Drysdale, you can see both these battles in live right now, as there you go, Drysdale has another look right round the outside. Arvidsson, he's a wily old fox. He knows that he can defend that one easily. On the right hand side, you're seeing Renault versus Dames, and Renault, well, he's hugging that inside line. Dames looks left, look right, desperately wants to try and find a way up the inside now. Who's going to be the last late breakers? But Dames just backing out there. Is he looking for the switchback here, Jamie?
He's looking for it again. See how aggressive he is over the inside curve, that he is definitely looking for that switchback, but Renault's doing a fantastic job of holding the inside and not overcommitting on entry, so Dames just doesn't have an opportunity on exit.
Fascinating close to this race that we are seeing right now here on Apex Racing TV. Oh, wow, there you go. Contact, and is that going to allow Dames just to get through? No, it's not. Renault's going to hold on to that one. Meanwhile, it's come down by another more tense, and into these finals corners, Drysdale is a lot more confident than what Arvidsson is, but I think Arvidsson's just about done enough as Dames on the attack, and yet again looking for another switchback. Oh, Jamie. Oh, Jamie, he's desperate to make that move work, isn't he? Desperate.
He's lining it up. Might send it up the inside here. No, thinks better of it for now.
I mean, is he doing it so that if I do this right opponent so much that eventually he's going to assume I'm going to do it yet again and then do something different and just completely and utterly kept Renault unawares?
I think he's just trying whatever he can just to get through. He's not.
He's wide. Renault's one wide.
Renault's wide.
And Dames was squeezing his car on the inside there.
He's properly off as well.
Well, that's one battle we don't have to concentrate on so much as that was, well, that could be close there. Renault just, that's the practice as he rejoined there. That's a lot. Oh, he's dropped places as well. Martinson now up onto the podium. Schwartz into 8th, Renault down to 9th after running in 4th for so long, and second on the podium, Drysdale. Well, he's dropped off a bit of time here. Like incurring a bit of traffic. It's going to be white flag, 1 lap left to go. Next time around for our lead pair. Can he do it, Jamie? Can he do it? Can Mitchell Drysdale have a true underdog victory here?
He's only got 1 lap left to do, and he's got 8/10 of a second to close back in.
He's got to give it everything he's got.
I mean, so we've just spotted there the gap. I said 8/10, and it's already down to 5 just on the brake. So Arvidsson must be saving fuel, considering where that time has been closed in.
has he saved enough though? Is he going to have to field save this lap? I mean, coming onto this last lap with that gap and seeing the way Drysdale is just wringing the neck off that Ferrari right now.
What I can gauge is that Arvidsson is pushing in one area of the track and one area only, and that's from here into the hairpin. So it's tough to see where Drysdale's going to make this happen, but anything can still happen with the rest of this lap.
Ferrari's stronger in a straight line, but I think he's just that bit too far back, quarter of a second.
Oh,
He's looking. There's going to be contact. Surely.
Oh,
no. Oh, he's revving this low. I think Drysdale knows, and I sense this is a bit of sportsman thing. Yeah, I might want to win it, but I don't want to win it like that.
He's going to have to wait quite a distance here. It's 11 seconds or so that Arvidsson has lost from that contact. So we'll see if Drysdale does give it up. He is.
Well, he is.
He is going very slowly, but you have to go slow.
Watch the times absolutely tumbling massively here. You see just in the background there's Arvidsson. Drysdale is running out of time. Now he's about 3/4 of the way around the lap, so he has got plenty of time to kill this one off and give it back. There you go, 1.6 seconds. Oh, Arvidsson is really pushing hard.
And there he is up the inside.
There we go.
So he has to give the spot back.
No,
Drysdale's going to have another pop in.
Well, I was going to say, it's this, just lets him up the inside and then gets him on the switchback. Toying with him, but no, I get the feeling this is going to finish as they are. Is it? I don't know. No, it is. There we go. Wow. We were for a falling finish. We got it. We didn't quite expect it to end this way. But Arvidsson taking the victory. Drysdale, third time on the podium overall this season. Brett Rossoff doing the teeny. He's going to be happy with that result on the podium overall. Dames, what a recovery drive. In the end, up 21 places. There's only 29 cars on the grid. Also, back to the
up the inside here.
Oh, that's a great late move, isn't it? That's on Dwoiver. Yeah, it's up another place, and of course, do get points are based on where you finish overall, not necessarily in class. So, getting it where it counts. Thomas Yaz, 11th in the end. Martini, there we go. He's on the podium overall, and in class, second in class. Dames, 4th. Overall, second in Pro. Panini, 5th. Ran out podium in Pro-Am, and then 7th to run out your podium in Pro. What a crazy race this has been. That's Matthias Martinson. With Am, that's Broiver in 12th. Zanon in 13th. Surprising, because Zanon looks so clinical and like the stronger driver all race long. No, apologies. Salvatore Pizzese. What a recovery from him to get back on the podium in Am. 17th overall. Wow. Wow. What a race. We're going to take a quick breather, head to a break. We'll be back in the studio shortly. It's been a dodgy going on between two teammates there. And we'll be chatting to some of our drivers and trying to take in what we have just witnessed here at Magny-Cours.
Welcome back. And how was that for your first time in the commentary booth?
The first time in a very, very long time that I've been in the commentary booth. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just madness from start to finish. It's probably a slightly smaller grid than what we've been used to in this series, but definitely not short on action, that's for sure.
Oh, no. It's crazy because sometimes it's... I don't know whether it's because you've got that slightly smaller grid. I say smaller grid, there's still 29 cars out on track, which... I see that quite a few official series with iRacing, they cap out at 25 drivers. It's still bigger than that sort of field you get. But I don't know whether it's a case of, because there's not as many drivers, you see more of the action going on. We haven't got our producers do a brilliant job here. Here, there, everywhere. I know you've done your stint in the production booth as well. But then, equally, it just wouldn't let up. And it was like, especially at the sharp end of the field, it was like nobody wanted to be on the podium. Certainly for the pros.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, we had more pro-ams inside the top 5 and top 10 than we did pros, which is basically unheard of. As you said, nobody really wanted the pro podium. It was crazy.
No, I mean, at one point, I think it was Mattis Martinson who was all the way down 8th and was on the podium still.
I think that's where he ended. He still hung on to a podium place.
It's bizarre. And such topsy-turvy race that he had. But I think when I've been a chat to his teammates, and our race winner here today, Isaac Arvison's going to join us now here in the studio. Well, obviously, he is very, very shortly anyway. Just sitting in the virtual green room. And, I mean, it looked like he got this one comfortable, hadn't it? But, I mean, it's a really surprising finish, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. We'll be able to ask him now.
Well, I think we will, yes.
And see what actually happened.
Isaac, I mean, completely surprised us. Those last few laps of the race, I mean, what... I'm just trying to understand sort of like the tactics, and were you having to fuel save extra aggressively to get you home, or was it your tyres?
Yeah, it was a bit of both, actually. When I crossed the line, the car started blurring, so it was just enough to get to the end, and the tires were just dead. I speak with Michel, and he did actually change his front tires, and I didn't think about that. That you can change just 2 tires. So yeah, I was struggling at the end.
It's a strange one you say about the fronts, because normally it's the rears with the Porsche that are the big issue. And, was it literally you just hit a cliff? Because we saw from the telemetry that you'd lost about a second a lap compared to Mitchell Drysdale. For, I think, bar the last couple of laps, on the 3 laps prior to that, it seemed like it was just a dramatic fall off for you.
Yeah. My spotter actually said that we need to be careful on the tires, like 10 laps before he started to catch me. So I knew it was going to be tight at the end.
And then coming into those last couple of laps, Isaac, I mean, did you think you could hold on to it? I mean, what came at the end, obviously, I know Mitchell, you might say it's a bit adventurous, but Sportsman gave you back the place when some might say he didn't have to. But did you think that you'd actually come away with the victory, or did you think you might just be able to hold on to it?
I'm not sure. I mean, it was so tight in the end. I was just trying to save fuel and get the car over the line, and try to keep him behind. So, yeah, I mean, he was playing fair, even if the incident was just a bit over-aggressive, or if I did over-aggressive turning, it's probably the right thing to do, and I'm grateful for that he could see his own mistake.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, Isaac, congratulations. A dominant display. It will look like anyway. Led every lap, pole, and the victory. Congratulations. We'll see you in a week's time. I mean,
the fact he was still, I wouldn't have been able to keep that car going personally. And so it said it was chugging over the line, the car. Is that time to perfection? You know, fuel to perfection, or a bit too close for comfort?
It looked like it was too close. Just a bit too close for comfort, given how much time he ended up losing at the end. And as he said, then it was a combination of both the fuel and the tyres, so that's where the big, massive drop-off really came from. But in the end, he did just about manage it to perfection. So
very interesting seeing how it was the fronts that they were struggling with.
So that's with Mitchell, with the Ferrari, where it's a more front-limited car. The Porsche is very rear-limited because all the engine, or the weight of the engine and everything's at the back, and it's a very pointy car on turn-in. So I think actually the strategy, if Isaac was to go back over this again, would probably be to take left side tyres. You wouldn't change the balance of the car, but you would protect the left rear and get a fresh left rear on it without losing the extra time of having to change all four. So that might have been the strategy for him. Maybe that's me giving away the secret and the strategy for everyone on that one. But,
pro top tip there.
Yeah, front tyres kind of make sense for Mitchell, given that the Ferrari, as we've seen with other cars over the course of the race, it was understeering quite a bit. But Isaac, as he said, he was struggling. We could even see visibly that he was struggling to even get the power down.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'll tell you what, let's see from the opposite side of the coin. Let's see from Mitchell Drysdale's perspective. I'll let you have the honours. You can have a chat to Mitchell. He's spoken to me many a time on his trips onto the podium.
Perfect. All right, I'll take it over then. Mitchell, welcome to the booth. Jamie here. Looked like a really strong run out for you there. Again, winning in Pro-Am. The fight for the win was certainly on, especially with Isaac's issues towards the end. Talk us through that last lap.
Yeah, and I've been sitting in the room for about 45 seconds, and yeah, Jamie, everything you said was right, and except for the just right. I think with fuel, I think any other track, I probably would have finished 4 or 5 seconds ahead of him. So it was an extremely frustrating final 10 minutes. The fronts was exactly what I did, changed fronts. At the pit stop, I did a full stint. I had some time this week and was 53, 54 on the fronts, and I knew that just wouldn't work with the Ferrari, so changed fronts, tried to manage and time it right, which I felt like I did. Obviously, his fuel issues made that gap close probably a bit quicker than I would have expected. And I mean, when you're racing someone of his caliber, there's really one opportunity to pass, and you probably saw from the last lap. I really wasn't planning on going for it. I was hoping maybe some switchback. He went deep a couple times, and then I realized how early he broke, and then I just ended up sticking a nose in probably where it didn't belong. Didn't feel like winning it that way. It just wouldn't sit right, so let him pass by. But yeah, it was extremely frustrating. Him fuel saving put me in a few precarious new damage model spots. Got to slow down trying to avoid it once, but I mean, I can't blame him. You just can't pass, and there's not two lines around here. But I didn't come into this season thinking I'd be so annoyed with a second, but I definitely am.
It makes sense. So speaking of that, your expectations going into the season and sort of where you're at now, where has this sort of speed and performance come from for you this season? Has it just been extra work and extra practice, or are you just especially gelling with the Ferrari?
I think the league has helped me kind of stay with a cadence to running the sim. Before, it was kind of, I'd find 3 or 4 good weeks, race a bit. I've always kind of stuck with GT3s, but it's forced me to kind of get stuck in with the car. The BOP change made me go from Porsche to Ferrari, so I felt like I had to make that count in the change in like round 2 when I made the change. I found that it's been quite competitive pretty much across the schedule in places I didn't even think that it would be. But yeah, starting out thinking, hey, let's try to finish top 5 in Pro-Am, and now I'm in the position of, if I'm qualifying outside top 5 overall and not putting myself in that top 5 conversation on pure pace, no craziness, just lap to lap times, I'm leaving a bit frustrated. So yeah, my expectations have definitely changed a bit, but it makes moments like this probably a bit more frustrating than if it happened in like round 1 or 2.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So moving on towards next week, what are your expectations?
Not a track that I particularly had a great time with. I think I'm gonna kind of keep the same goal of qualifying near the front, managing well, and getting another victory, and hopefully fighting for another overall victory like this week.
Sounds good. Thanks for dropping by, Mitchell.
Yeah, cheers, Jamie.
I mean, someone who's making a
some would argue a non-AP car, not the prime. It's not everyone. You spoke to the officials at the moment, predominantly Porsche, Lamborghini, Audi.
Yeah. He did allude to the fact that the BOP has helped the Ferrari slightly, which it has, but this still isn't a particularly strong track for it, at least in my opinion. But he is making the absolute most of what he's got, and yeah, he's done a superb job all season.
Do you think that also then comes down to a little bit maybe of finding a car that, okay, it's not necessarily the strongest car, but actually it suits your driving style better and the way that it works than necessarily going with, I don't know, like with Mercedes been the prime car, the BMW, in seasons gone by, then the Porsche, and then obviously Audi and Lamborghini this season. Sticking with a car that actually just driver and machine just connects with one another.
Yeah, and it is a valid strategy. The BOP is in such a way where, I mean, we're talking maybe a couple of tenths between all cars. It's not a massive difference. Maybe in some tracks it's exaggerated in certain places, but in general the cars are pretty close week to week. So the Ferrari actually now is quite good on its tyres as well, which is a benefit to it. And he seems to be taking advantage of the strengths of the car and kind of masking its weaknesses.
Definitely fascinating to see. It's working absolute great guns for him, paying dividends. But down into I believe we're joined by Jeremy Dvoiva right now. Jeremy, well, talk us through what it was like being there in the midfield, because from the commentary booth, it just seemed like it was a really, really crazy race today. I know we say that a lot, but it seemed to be even more so today.
It was a little bit heavy on the start. I think Salvatore in front of me spun with Haroldas, I think. So it was a little bit surprise on that. And from that on, I just tried to drive safe and keep it no mistakes. And yeah, that was for me the most important. And then I saw Daniel be in front of me at 3 seconds, I think. And it was for me to manage that gap, not big it, and see what happens with the pit stop.
You mentioned Daniel, obviously Daniel Zanon. He had an astounding qualifying. After qualifying, did you think, wow, I don't think I'm going to win today? It's it's going to take a lot and a bit of luck as well to try and beat Daniel, or did you know over race pace you're a bit stronger necessarily than qualifying?
I know from myself, my qualifying is not normally my best thing I do. So for me, I have always to keep the car good in the race pace, and I try to make that the setup works for me, and from that we see what we can do in a race. So a race like that from 1 hour is more for me better to manage my race pace than the sprints.
Definitely. Well, hey, it's worked for you definitely today. Obviously, looking ahead to next week, do you think it's going to be another Jeremy Dvoiva win?
I cannot say that all because I didn't know that I won the last 5 races also. So for me, it's also sometimes a surprise. But it works at the moment fine, and we try to do our best every week and see what happens. So. Hope we can again make a good result, but for the same time I make a mistake or something happens with the traffic, so I cannot promise that I'd be on front again.
Oh, definitely. Well, congratulations, Jeremy Dvoiva, your winner in the AM category. And talking of the non-AP car, another Ferrari winning its category.
Very true. He's finding a way to just generate consistent results, and I believe the car actually helps with that. It's not the most difficult of the GT3s to drive. I mean, the Porsche, I think we can see is more of a challenge just to get around the track, but he's just doing the job that he needs to do, especially in AM, where consistency has always been what pays off in that particular class. He's done a fantastic job from he's come into the series, and maybe he's got a championship contention or
he's beaten on his hands. Ultimately his nearest competitor being Salvatore Piazzese again today. It's all it's chipping away, and of course the points on offer are for overall position, not your position in class. And that's what you like. You say that ability to keep your nose clean, which you're seeing from a lot of the AMs, means that they're rising through the rank and picking up points. Just that, yeah, a few more than I say than they should do. But you know, just taking those opportunities, that presented to them, just by just keeping the car alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
No trouble.
And one thing that Jeremy did especially well today, which actually got him the win in class, was he got his pit stop right as well. He got the right call in terms of fuel and tyres. I think Zanon ended up 5 seconds stationary longer in his pit box, and there was half a second between them in the end, and that made a big difference as well. So yeah, he's executed really well, not just today but across the whole series from he's come in.
Yeah, so I think Zanon took all 4 tyres in the end, and
it looked like it.
Rover only the 2, and that's what made the difference here today. Obviously the drivers having to take on a full tank of fuel with this hour-long race. Well, that's what paid off for him. Bit of strategy, bit of guile, got it done. But wow, what can we say? I mean, it's been an absolutely spectacular race. What are your thoughts from it? If you 3 words to sum up today.
Absolutely bloody brilliant.
There you go. There you go. And a good job we're past the watershed with that minor one. Bloody hey.
I feel like that's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll let you off. It's your first time, isn't it? But wow, what a race it has been from France. Magny-Cours, will it bring many problems, many excitement? Well, definitely brought many action. It was epic. It was drama-filled. And we've only got a week to wait. Well, it surely can't get any better than this. We say this every week, can it? Tune in a week's time. Here at Apex Racing TV, I've been Tim Cox with Jamie Fluke. We'll see you then.